This is a cherry two-drawer nightstand. Those were really popular for a while, maybe 20 years ago. That one there just a little bit rough. Pulls are gone. It's got the wave front drawers with veneer on them, and it's not really the kind I like. But it's a good example of what it is from the period it came from. I bought that from a friend of mine named Nelson Brannaman. And that's not really the one I wanted. He had two. He had another one that had what you call rope legs on it. It was cherry too. It had the flat front drawers. It's in way better shape than this one. And those rope legs were really unusual. They actually, I don't know how they made them. I don't think you could turn something like that on a lathe, but they looked like they were carved and twisted like a rope, and really cool looking. And I bought those two tables because I wanted the one with the rope legs, and I sold the one with the rope legs a long time ago. Got a lot of money for it. The guy that bought it from me put it online, sold it again, and got even more money for it. So I guess we both knew something good when we saw it. Anyway, that's a table, and I told you all this just to tell you this. When I bought that table, Nelson had a pile of cherry sticks in the corner of the garage where he had the table. And I'd say there were, I don't know, 2 feet long, about an inch to an inch and a quarter, inch and a half square cherry sticks, and he probably had 1,000 of them, maybe more. And I said, Nelson, what are you doing with all them cherry sticks? And he told me where he got them. I can't remember what it was. And he said, do you want some of them? And I said, yeah. How much do you want for them? He said, you just take all of them you want. He said, I'm trying to get rid of them. If you don't take them, I'm going to use them for kindling in the garage in my wood stove out there. So long story short, I loaded up the back of my pickup with those sticks when I took my tables home. And I'm going to show you what happened to a few of those sticks here in a minute and tell you another story. Talking about the two-drawer nightstand that I bought from Nelson Brannaman. And I told you I was going to get back to that because there was a story I wanted to tell you about it, and it's an Aunt Colleen story. After I bought those from Nelson, I had some chores in town. I was doing something, going around town, and went by to see my mom. She wasn't home, and found out that she was over at Aunt Colleen. So I went by there. I had something I wanted to talk to her about. And when I got there, of course, Aunt Colleen, she sitting on the porch, her and Mom drinking tea and smoking cigarettes. And Aunt Colleen looked out there and said, what you got in the back of that truck? And I said, a couple of cherry nightstands that I bought. And she said, I want to look at them. I said, all right, I'll walk out there with you. And we walked out there. She saw all those cherry sticks in the truck there. I had a half truckload of them, and she said, wow, where'd you get all them cherry sticks? And I said, same place I got the tables. And she said, I'd like to have some of them. And I said, well, you can have some. How many you want? And she said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, just get whatever you want. She said, no, I don't want them right now. She said, I need to make a place for them. She said, come back tomorrow and park back there by my garage, and we'll put them there. And I said, okay. Well, I finished my business and went on home, and I had to leave them. I unloaded my tables, but I had to leave them sticks in the back of the truck because now I had to make another trip to town with sticks in my truck and take them to Aunt Colleen. But I went over there the next day and pulled up back there and went to the house and told her I was there, and she come out, and I said, where do you want these? And she had a place all cleaned out there on a shelf there in the garage. And so I started gathering them up to put them over, and she said, oh, no. And she started looking at them like one at a time. And so I just got out of her way, and she raked some of them out there on the tailgate, and she'd look them all over and make her a little stack, and then she'd take that stack over there and put them on her shelf, and then she'd go through some more of them, and she finally picked out, I think, about 50 of them that she considered to be prime. I don't know, they all look the same to me, but Anyway, she was happy with it, and she said, "What I owe you for that?" And I said, "You don't owe me anything." And that's how she was, stubborn as could be. She tried to pay me anyway, and I wouldn't take it. So, but she didn't take it. I didn't take her money, and I left, and she had a bunch of cherry sticks. Well, it wasn't too long after that she called me. She said, "Come over to the house. I got something for you." And I went over there, and what she had was, I don't know whether you call it crochet or it's got another name, but it said, I think, "Welcome Friends." And she had made a frame out of those cherry sticks, and it's hanging on my wall in the family room. Now it's been there a lot of years. She gave it to me, and actually, in my mind, she gave it to me. In her mind, just the way she was, she shouldn't have got all them sticks for nothing, and so she made that little Welcome Friends thing and made a frame for it out of them cherry sticks and give it to me. But that was her way of paying me for those sticks. I like these little chairs, don't you? I got several of them around here. This one's, it's the smallest probably of the ones I got. The rest of them are about maybe this tall, a little bigger than this one. I like this size though. This one here needs a little love. It's missing one of the supports there between the legs. That's probably about a, I don't know, 3/8 inch dowel. I should fix that, but I haven't got around to it yet. It's got a little place right there where the bent wood's cracked. That happens in a lot of bent wood chairs. But it's got nice red paint on it. It's got character. It's a nice little chair. Like I said, I've got several of them around there. This one would be about, I'm going to say $20 if you happen by and wanted it. I got it here to set this on. Probably know what that is. That's a spittoon. And this particular one is what they would call sponge ware. It's kind of a sky blue and a darker blue Crock spittoon. I'm going to slide it up there and let you see it a little closer. There it is. Pretty nice little thing. What you probably can't see in that video is this thing at one time was in at least 3 and maybe 4 pieces. And this happens to be something that was my Aunt Colleen's. She gave it to me. It's one of the, I don't know, 4 or 5 things that I own that used to be hers that she gave to me. Pretty much paid through the nose for the rest of the things that I got that were hers, but that's okay. I liked them, I wanted them, and I paid for them. But there was, over the years, she gave me a few things, and she gave me this, and this has a story with it. Her father, Sam Eddington, my grandfather, he gave her this for her birthday. And unusual thing about that is, and the thing that she made, put great emphasis on every time she told me the story about getting this spittoon for her birthday from her father, was when he gave it to her, it was broken, all the pieces. She acted like it was shattered into about 50 pieces, but I've looked it all over, and she did a pretty good job of putting it back together. But I think it was only 3 pieces, maybe 4. She pieced them back together and glued it together, and to the casual observer that just walks by it, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you look at it a little bit more than casually, you can see that it was 3 or 4 pieces at one time, and she glued it back together. The thing about it is, and then why did my grandfather give his daughter a broken crock for her birthday? And that always puzzled me. And after I'd heard that story several times, and when I began first hearing the story, Aunt Colleen was in possession of this. It's set in her kitchen, there on a side piece of furniture, a kind of a kitchen cupboard kind of a thing that was in her kitchen. And this crock set up on that, and I'd heard the story about Grandpa giving it to her a lot of times before one day she gave it to me. But after she gave it to me, I couldn't stand it anymore, and I said, Aunt Colleen, why did your dad give you spittoon, a crock spittoon for your birthday, and it was broken in a lot of pieces? And she said, I don't know. And that's just about how she said it. But knowing Aunt Colleen as I did, I felt like that I had offended her with that question. And I don't know whether she really did know and she was offended by the question, or she didn't know, but it didn't make any difference to her. She loved it anyway. And that's pretty much what she said. It doesn't matter. I love it anyway. And I said something to the effect that, yeah, I love it too. I don't know, and I always got the feeling that she felt like I should have known the answer to my question. I should have known why her dad gave her a crock that was broken to pieces. But to this day, I don't know, and I don't know whether she knew or not. But it makes a good story, and I've told it now, and maybe it won't be lost. And maybe there's somebody that heard Aunt Colleen say why Grandpa gave her the crock that was broken, and I'll find the answer to my question. Or maybe they won't. But there it is. Two-tone blue, spongeware, crock, spittoon, repaired by my Aunt Colleen from what once was 3 pieces or maybe 4. Okay, my next video is going to be entitled Aunt Colleen and the F words. Basically, the next 3 or 4 videos are probably going to be about Aunt Colleen. So if you like Aunt Colleen stories, be sure and keep an eye out for that next video, Aunt Colleen and the F words. Till then, it's the Hard Times Guy. Thanks for tuning in.